Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Mr. Hicks podcast. We are here getting it in once again, time and time again. This is the first time doing the show from the mobile studio, i.e., the front seat of the Grand Cherokee. And you might ask, Mr. Hicks, why are you doing the show from the front seat of the Grand Cherokee? Well, the reason is I could decide to not do the show today, or I could just decide to come do it in here because the wife is deciding to wash dishes at 9:30 at night in the studio, i.e., the kitchen. So it is what it is. I'm adapt and overcome. This is the way I get down. I can do this show from the trunk. It don't really bother me. We're going to talk this stuff. So for those of you who don't know, Texas A&M is in a bit of trouble right now. Teams 3-4. They have 4 losses already, losing season. 2 of those losses, inexplicably, are to South Carolina and Appalachian State. 2 things you would not expect of the number 6 ranked team in the country, who's been throwing around NIL money and has literally been delivering more baggage than a luggage handler at the airport, just giving them bags out to these kids, landed the not just the number 1 recruiting class in the country, but the number 1 recruiting class of all time, and had no problem bragging about it. They were like, we out here giving this money, and they landed more 5-star recruits in 1 year than they've ever landed. I think that they've landed in the last 5 years, like maybe even combined. Like that's how crazy it was. I think they landed something like 6 or 7 5-stars. And just so you know, there's only like 30 to 32 of those any given year. So for you to get 5 or 6 of those is unbelievable. If you do it 3 or 4 years in a row, then basically you got more talent than every team in the country. And it's just up to you to coach them. So not only are they having a problem, the biggest problem I have with this is that Jimbo Fisher got a monstrous extension this year. Not only did he get an extension, he's now, it's so like 9 more years, and he's up to 2031. $95 million. It's a fully guaranteed contract. For those of you who don't know what a fully guaranteed contract is, that means that you owe that man all his money. No matter what happens, you owe him all his money. Unless you can fire him for cause. And it is really hard to fire a college football coach for a cause. He has to be doing something egregiously bad. He has to be banging co-eds or the president of the university's daughter, or he has to murder somebody. In Texas, I'm thinking as long as you don't murder somebody, you're probably not going to get fired for cause. You couldn't even, like for sleeping around, you couldn't even fire a high school coach for that for cause. So one thing I do want to mention while I'm doing this is that, like, Jimmy Sexton, if you don't know, Jimmy Sexton is a super agent, works for CAA, and that is one of the biggest sporting agencies in the country. So the wild thing about that is, I don't know when they started doing this, but Jimmy Sexton has like some of the biggest names in college football on his roster. So just to give you an idea of who Jimmy Sexton represents, he represents Nick Saban, James Franklin, Jimbo Fisher, Lane Kiffin, Kirby Smart, Steve Sarkisian, Marcus Smart, and Sam Pittman. So you're talking about the head coaches for some of the biggest names in college football. Then he's got the next dudes up. So he's also got the offensive coordinator at Oklahoma, Jeff Lebby, and he's got the offensive coordinator at Arkansas, who is Kendall Browse. So 2 guys who I believe are going to get head coaching jobs really soon. So what I think is happening is these universities do not know how to negotiate contracts. They don't know how to say no. They got a bunch of boosters. They got a lot of money. They're like, hey, our coach did something this year that we think is great, so go ahead and give him an extension. Pay him all this money. We want to make sure we keep him. Because you know why? Well, something that might have to do with this, the reason why a bunch of people got scared and gave their coaches extension was the fact that USC hired away Oklahoma coach Lincoln Riley, and then LSU hired away Brian Kelly from LSU. So like the dominoes, just like people are all kind of scared that somebody's going to come around and take their coach. So what do? They hire a coach that they pay a lot of money to a coach that they already have for a lot of money. The one team that really got hosed with this was Michigan State. You remember, Michigan State was really desperate for a coach, and they hired away Colorado's coach, Mel Tucker. And they hired him by offering him more money. They just kept offering him money until he said yes. He initially told them, no, I like what we have going on in Colorado. We got a great recruiting class coming in. Then they doubled his salary, and he said, I am about to be a Spartan and love Sparty and Sparty-ness because they are doubling my salary. And for those of you who are like, oh, he shouldn't have left that place the way he did. Has anybody ever doubled your salary? Doubled your salary. We all grown here. Okay, so somebody offered you a bigger office and more money at double the money, not more money, double the money, with a bigger recruiting budget and a bigger staff and more money to pay your staff and a bigger office and hot and cold running blowjobs under your desk, like just not anything you could want. I don't care how loyal you are, unless you've ever somebody offered to double your salary and you said no. I don't want to hear it. We're all grown out here. You give me enough money, and I'm out like a scout on a new route. Shut up. So Jimmy Sexton is basically going into these colleges, and he's negotiating these monster deals with these monster buyouts for coaches who ain't done nothing. Like James Franklin got an extension. He lost 5 games last year. He has never won the Big Ten East, which also has Ohio State and Michigan in it. He's never even won the East, much less won the conference. Never even won the Big Ten. And he got an extension. Mel Tucker got an extension. Now, mind you, at least his buyout is manageable. But he's going to be getting paid $9.5 million a year. He's going to be getting paid more next year, I believe, than Dabo Swinney. That's how much he's getting paid. So then you got and then Jimbo Fisher. Jimbo Fisher is paid like he's done something. That's what I don't understand. You paid Jimbo Fisher $9.5 million a year, fully guaranteed. So if you wanted to, that man is literally crapping down his pants. Just yellow, runny doo-doo, smelly, wet runny doo-doo going down his pants right now. And he's literally has players, and it just came out today, smoking weed and banging chicks in the locker room. Now, how mad am I at those students for doing that? Not really. Not really. I know there have been college players that have done very much that kind of thing somewhere in the facility. I'm not surprised. What I'm saying is you're doing it in the locker room. Those kids have no respect for you. No respect for you. You bought yourself a recruiting class. That's what they're doing. That's what they're doing. When you bring in the transfers and you pay for a bunch of kids and you're looking around, that's what they're doing. Jimbo Fisher's losing control. He can't live up to the hype. He can't live up to the pay. And now Texas A&M is stuck with him. I want to know what kind of oil money you got. Let me see your pockets. Turn your pockets out. Turn your pockets out, Texas A&M. I want to see what you really got, because I know you want to fire him right now. You gave him a big, and here's the biggest problem that I have. You let your fan base, you let your boosters, you let everybody else chirp, 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 convince you that he deserves that money. You let his agent come in there and rob you. Rob you. 50 Cent said this. He said, at least when somebody comes at you with a gun, he does you the dignity of sticking the gun in your face and putting his life on the line for whatever you got in your pocket. An agent, a lawyer, will smile and slide the paperwork over to you and rob you right to your face. That's what happened to you, Texas A&M. CAA, Jimmy Sexton, robbed you right in your face. And what are you going to do about it? In order to get rid of a coach who has never been what you paid him to be, you have to pay him $85 million to go away. And then you have to find somebody else to take the job. And at a job like Texas A&M, you're going to have to pay somebody at least 7 or 8. So you're going to be paying one dude $85 million not to coach, while you pay another dude $7 to $8 million a year to take over. Now, mind you, cupboard's not exactly bare. Going to have a lot of talent for him. Going to have a lot of NIL money for him. And my question to you is, if you're paying all this NIL money, if you're bringing in the transfers, if you're bringing in the players, if you've got amazing facilities, which they do, why is Jimbo Fisher special? How many coaches could make to do what he's doing, which is losing at least 4 games a year and never winning the SEC for a lot less money. What are you doing? Take it easy.